Floyd's killer being in jail, I don't have nothing to say.
The guards of color were somehow banned from the floor where Derek Chauvin, who is white, was being held.
It's making me angrier than hell that they decided to send that asshole Chauvin down here to this jail.
Chaos filled Minneapolis streets for a fourth night. Not even 8 o'clock curfew could prevent it.
Are you watching this shit?
Of course I'm watching this shit. I done flipped through 30 channels already.
We've never had an ex-cop being held in our prison who happened to suffocate the life out of a handcuffed man for 8 minutes and 46 seconds on camera for the whole damn world to see.
Hey, Chauvin. Asshole.
This asshole cop sure picked a hell of a time to set the world on fire.
You might want to tell the warden that now the media has gotten word that none of the black guards, not one, is being allowed to work the block where Chauvin is being held.
Damn. Man, I can't believe they got this clown on the same block as us, man.
Suck.
This is C.O. Jordan. I won't be returning back to work at the facility until this is addressed in one form or another.
But the way they killed that man got everybody traumatized. You seen it.
Yeah, I saw it. I knew exactly where I was and what I was doing the first time I ever saw the video because it made me mad as hell.
This man was murdered by police.
Man, I'm going to my room.
What's the matter, Marcus?
How many times we gotta see that man get killed?
See what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Are you still wearing your uniform when you're not going to work today?
Babe, I was, but I changed my mind. I'll never forget where I was when that man George got murdered. Babe, it could have been me.
I'm gonna burn this whole city down.
George got murdered. Where were you?
Good afternoon and welcome back to My Harlem Portraits, the show that wants to shed a light on the fundamental contribution of African Americans to the building of this country and on Black excellence. Today we have with us Terrance Tykeem, a multi-talented and socially conscious author, recording artist, producer, and director for television and film. He's with us because he has directed a movie which is really going to be a very special kind of movie. The title is When George Got Murdered. And by George, we all know now in this country who we are talking about. So welcome to My Harlem Portrait, Terrance.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
So many people may remember you from your late 90s hit single from the recording point of view, If You Can't Learn to Love Her.
Exactly.
And it was dealing with the issue of spousal abuse and received national attention on TV and on radio.
Exactly.
So tell me, what made you from the very beginning take up issues which are politically sometimes incorrect, but socially very important?
Exactly. Well, I'm all I always try to focus on issues that deal with social justice or the abuse of women and children. Those are the two issues that are really, I'm really passionate about. Anything that deals with social justice, especially when you're dealing with wrongful convictions and police brutality. I focus on those kind of issues. And yeah, you're gonna have to open that a little bit. This is great. Yeah, so I focus on a lot of stuff like that. And I'm always trying to push the needle. So like my very first project was like you mentioned the song, If You Can't Learn to Love Her, that was about domestic violence. So like I said, I'm always focusing on issues that are the kind of issues that most people won't touch these issues. So I always try to push the envelope and push these issues because I know that these are kind of issues that most film producers, songwriters, and TV show producers, they use, but I make it a point to touch on these issues.
Right. You turned to this career after a career in in football. You suffered an injury. Tell us what happened.
Well, after college, I walked on for the Atlanta Falcons, and I actually made the team, and I played in all 4 preseason games, and I had signed my contract to play for that season, and it was about 2 minutes in the last preseason game, and I tore my shoulder up, and I had 2 surgeries, and I never played football again after that surgery. So I immediately went into my music career. So. And I kept going with my music because I knew that it was going to be something that I was going to really be able to focus on.
And then from the music career, you turn on to the movies and film careers, and TV careers. And tell me how you did that passage and what happened in the beginning.
Well, I mean, I've been working on music for a long time, and when I got signed to Warner Brothers Records. And they weren't really supportive. I recorded a lot of songs when I was signed to Warner Bros. They never released them, so I just gradually started getting into the film and television as a result of me getting signed to a major label, and it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So I started doing film and TV projects.
So you could come up with your stuff.
Exactly. I started
heard.
Exactly. I started doing my own stuff in terms of the film and TV stuff.
So let's come to this incredible movie. I learned a lot of things from this documentary. It takes place inside the jail where the cop who killed George Floyd is now. And the first thing I would like to ask you is if the characters in all the police officers in the movie and so on, if they're fictional or if they're based on real people.
Everything in the movie is based on real issues. Even the whole issue of the cops of the prison guards not being all the Black and Hispanic prison guards, they would not allow them to work.
Yeah.
The unit where Derek Chauvin was being housed. All of that stuff is true.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. It's in the jail. And the first shots that you see is all people shouting, all 3 counts, all 3 counts. And then turn into a very divided country. And then you see Chauvin being sentenced. And then you go to the No More Excuses campaign made by various celebrities. Tell me about it.
Well, what I did, I wanted to show since we finished the film, we started the film before the trial. So by the time we finished the film was by the time we finished the film, the trial had completed and he had got found guilty. So we wanted to start the film off by showing the fact that he was actually convicted. And then if you read the screen, it takes you back on a time lapse. It takes you back to when it first happened, when the reporter was outside the jail, the first time before he got released. Then the reporter returns. So it takes you on that time lapse.
Yes, it is it's fantastic. It's very
Thanks a lot.
And
Thanks a lot.
re-seeing that, it made me feel, and then what you are talking in the movie is really when George got murdered, everybody knows, everybody remembers where we were. Like really it happened for the teenagers. It's as striking as that.
Yes. And I made it a point to focus on that because like you said, every single person can remember where they were when they first saw that video of that man being murdered like that. So I made it a point to really focus on that because the subtitle, because the film is called When George Got Murdered, and the subtitle is Where Were You? Because everybody can remember where they was because it's a horrific thing to actually watch. So everybody can almost tell you almost to the minute exactly where they were. That's why we've reached out to all the celebrities and the familiar faces at the end of the film. And they actually, those videos you see at the end of the film, they actually recorded those themselves and sent it to us because they all can remember where they were when they first saw that horrible tape.
That is an amazing ending of this documentary because you really see, I saw that there is also Gwen Carr sent that video, Eric Garner's mom, Ron Howard, the director. So there were some really people who have really lived through it. This.
Exactly.
Did you get to film into the actual jail or not?
Oh yeah, we filmed in. Oh no, not that. No, not that actual prison.
Okay.
But we filmed in a actual jail, but not in Minneapolis. Of course, they're not gonna let us in there to film. But yeah, but as you can see, it was a real jail that we filmed in. Yes.
Yes. And where was this jail?
That particular jail was in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we shot it in Pennsylvania at a prison in at a jail in Pennsylvania, and we got with a costume company, and they got us all the guard uniforms. Where you see the Minnesota on there and things like that. So yeah, we rented out a jail and we shot it there.
How long did it take you to shoot this movie?
We shot that film in about, I think it took us about altogether about maybe 8 months to do the film, because we shot those scenes. We shot a bunch of that stuff separately, and there were different actors in different parts that we had to recast because Montel Williams wasn't the original person that played the primary captain, the role of Captain Cox. Montel Williams, he wasn't the primary person, and we had to switch characters with that role and another role. So we actually shot some stuff over. We shot that role originally, and we had to redo it with Montel Williams.
Why did you choose Montel Williams, who is famous for his show?
Well, because people forget that Montel had already acted in a bunch of films and TV shows. He was on that TV show Jag, and he had already did a lot of acting, and people tend to forget that. So I reached out to Montel because he and plus he aside from the fact that he acted already, he had a lot of insight into these issues, because he did a lot of shows back in the day when his TV show was on social justice issues, and he speaks really well publicly. So it made perfect sense to have him in there.
Plus, he was an ex-Marine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's actually he still does a lot of military things now, where he's highly involved in a lot of military issues, and there's several military trials that he helped on. Even that guy that just got released from Russia, he played a part in being a part of that.
That's very important. That's why I wanted you to say why you chose him.
Yeah. And plus, like I said, he's very well versed and well spoken on the issue of social justice.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really well spoken.
At a certain point in the movie, there is the uncle of is the brother of one of the cops. Cops, and he's going to have the talk.
Yep.
I live in Harlem, so I know what having the talk means, but most people wouldn't know. So tell us, what is having the talk?
Well, clearly that particular, so far, that scene has been the most pivotal and talked about scene in my movie.
Yep.
That scene has been really pivotal because everybody can relate to it, because everybody, anybody that has a child of color, they realize that they got to have that talk with their kid when they leave the house, when they come in contact with with these police officers. Mm-hmm. So the talk is pretty much, letting your kid know that, listen, man, you don't get the benefit of the doubt of being able to reach for your phone or move your hands off the steering wheel or stand up for your constitutional rights. You don't get the benefit of the doubt if you're a young man or nowadays even a young woman of color. Matter of fact, you don't even got to be young. You could just be just a person of color, because right now, they don't have no picks with anybody. Like the way they're beating up women of color, they're beating up men, women, children, and killing them. So So you don't have that leeway, and that's why a lot of parents who have children of color, they got to have that talk with them before they leave the house, just to warn them about coming in contact with law enforcement.
That's exactly what I wanted you to explain.
And it's sad. It's sad, and it's sad, but it's just the reality.
I have many friends who have children, who have young men and young women, and I see how they suffer every day when they go out of the house until they're back. They're always on their phone to make sure that they're okay. A mother that has to do that, it must be, I can't even imagine how horrible feeling you must have every time that the child leaves the house. And this is absolutely disgusting.
Yep. And it's horrible that you even have to live that way. But that's just the reality of America right now. It's just I mean, like I said, it's sad, but it's just the fact of life for so many people.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this show, because I want people, I'm Italian, so there are a lot of the viewers that are in Europe to understand what's going on in this country. For real.
That's right.
And there is one sentence that he says that really, he says, your skin is your sin.
That's right. Listen, that's why I wrote that line, because I knew that everybody would be galvanized by that particular line. When he told that little boy, he said, it's wrong. He said, your skin is your sin. He's wrong. He says wrong, but that's just the way they think. And that's just, and it's sad once again, but that is the absolute reality of what we're dealing with right now. Your skin is your absolute sin when you come into contact with these people.
Yeah. And then we come to the other kind of racism inside the jail now.
Yeah.
Because tell us what happens with Chauvin is in jail, and all of a sudden, none of the black and brown cops are allowed to be in the block where he is. Because
exactly. They stop. Yeah. Matter of fact, if you see, if you saw the one scene of a correction, the guard Nunez, she kind of turns it into a joke, but she was serious. She turned it into a joke, but she was really serious. The fact that she said, "Oh well, at least you were able to keep us black and Latino guards from working the block where where Chauvin's being kept. So that should help you out, right?" And then he says, "Don't start that shit again," because he knows that she knows that the whole thing is that the shit is crazy, but it's just a reality. And she was pointing that out to him. So the fact that they wouldn't let any of the guards of color work the block where Chauvin was being held, that lets you know what they think about people of color.
Exactly. And the whole dynamic between the cops of color that feel that they are being disrespected and not given the respect that they need, and also the white cops, and the fact that inmates, they would really like to get to Chauvin.
Exactly.
Tell us all about that dynamic, because that's really interesting. I would like to get to Chauvin myself.
Hey, listen, I'm with you on that 100%. But yeah, but the inmates, because you got to remember, they've been seeing all the news media. So the fact that they actually got this guy in their jail where they are, they they really would like to exact the kind of revenge that they want to exact on themselves on that guy. You know what I'm saying? They make it clear. The whole jail was taught, like all the inmates in the entire jail was like we're all talking about. If they could, they would really get to this guy, because what he did was just so horrible, and it affected everybody in the jail. I mean, as you can see, it affected not just the inmates, but it affected the guards, and it affected the families of the guards. I mean, just his presence affected everyone in the entire jail, and the inmates made that very, very clear that if it was up to them, they would deal with him themselves.
And that's why he is in a cell isolated.
Right. Yeah.
They know that.
Yeah, that's why they got to keep him isolated and separated from all the other inmates that's there, because they know that the guards know that they was going to get to him, but they disrespected the Black and Latino guards as if they couldn't do their job and not want to hurt him. So they really disrespected the guards of color inside the jail.
So the guards of color, few of them, they got together and they are suing the police department.
Oh yeah. Now they're in that area at that jail. I think it's about 10 guards so far that's suing them as a result of what they did when they had Derek Chauvin inside that jail there in Minneapolis. So yeah, they have several guards that's suing them. Right now, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, some of that stuff is about to go to litigation in court.
And they should go to litigation because this is really a breach of their contract.
Of course, yeah, because they didn't sign on for that. Because what you're telling them is that they can't do their job correctly.
Exactly. Then you go towards this movie is really important because you see all this dynamic and the private lives of the cops who are in the jail where Chauvin is, watching TV and seeing all this protests all over the world and realizing that they have this guy in their jail, the guy who has been the reason, who has created all this.
Exactly.
And at a certain point, you showed that the protesters, after Chauvin has been sentenced, they are now shouting, "We want all four." Because
that's right.
It wasn't just him on it, it was other 3 cops. 2 cops on him and 1 looking around doing nothing.
That's right.
So 4 of them are really guilty. So, and then you also say in the movie, 8:46 minutes, but it wasn't really 8:46 minutes. It was even more than that. It was 9:29.
That's right.
Tell me a little bit about that, because this 8:46 has become a symbol now.
Exactly. It's been a symbol, but we all know there was much longer than that. And they finally released the actual time. So it was a total different narrative. But the fact that all those people were chanting that, because if it wasn't for the public, we never would have arrested the other 3 cops. It was the pressure from the public that caused that. Because you got to remember, if it wasn't for that tape, if that little girl wasn't out there recording, you never would have heard of this. They was gonna go with this lie until they were gonna take that lie to their grave.
Yeah. Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is what is important to say, that this stuff has been happening always.
That's right.
But the only reason why we talk about this now, finally, is because we're seeing it now.
That's right. Because it's all these videos, it's all these video phones and these camera phones and things like that. Because you got to remember, this has been going on forever. And we've been complaining about this for like 30, 40, 50 years with these cops in these communities. And now everybody can see it because everybody got a phone with a camera on it.
Yes. It was amazing that she took that. And then when you talk in the end, when you're showing all this people reacting and talking, saying where they were, you say something very important. You say that you feel rage and you're happy that you had not been there, because if you had been there, you would have probably been killed. And because exactly what I said to my boyfriend when I saw that.
That's right. That's right, because it's real. Because that's right. Because the thing about it, I mean, I know for a fact there's no way in the world that I would have been able to sit there and watch them just like suffocate that man like that. There's no way in the world that I would be able to stand there like for that long of a period of time and watch him do that, especially the way he was doing it so casually. I mean, there's no way in the world that I could have stood there for almost 9 minutes and watched him, especially when you saw him stop moving. Because people, I don't know if people realize, but they do now. people didn't realize at first that like he had already blacked out. He had stopped moving at around 6 minutes. So you mean to tell me you still got your knee on this man's neck for another 3 minutes and 46 seconds after his body had stopped moving?
Yeah.
Which means that he was trying to kill the man.
Yes, he wanted to kill him.
He wanted to kill him. I mean, it's on now. It don't take no genius to see that. I mean, he was trying to kill this man. So yeah, that really hit me hard. So, but yeah.
Another thing that I never understood is why the story never came out that Chauvin and George knew each other because they were working in the same
nightclub. Yep, in the same nightclub.
Why didn't that story come out?
Well, you got to remember they were trying to. Well, we got to remember the police wasn't never going to let that story come out for the simple fact that they were trying to cover it up, and by the time it did come out, it was so much horrible. It was so many other horrible things that had been exposed. They just decided not to even focus on that.
Yeah. Okay, so there is another thing that I wanted to underline. When the guard is talking to Chauvin through the door, and he says, and the guard says to him, all this bullshit is because of you, all what's happening in the world is because of you. And he says, my bullshit was just the last straw.
Yep.
I am going to pay for it. What about the rest of you?
That's right. Now I did that on purpose because I wanted to show that inside the jail he recognized like even this horrible cop recognized how much corruption was actually inside the jail. I wanted to show that, which is why I showed that, because a lot of people say, well, why you give him the last word? I said I gave him the last word because because nobody had heard his voice up to that, up to that point, except for when he spoke in court. But nobody heard him say anything poignant.
Exactly. Okay. Unfortunately, we are at the end. I wanted to thank you very much.
Hey, thank you too.
Thank you very much for this interview. I wish we could have had it a little more relaxed, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, so congratulations.
Thanks a lot, and let me know if you're available again. I could probably bring one of the other cast members, and we could probably redo it again if you